Hey, it's Lauren with Bargain Bead Box, and today we're going to make an octopus necklace using the June Sunken Treasure collection. So from the box, I am going to be using the teal crystal rondelles, bronze toggle clasp, of course our octopus pendant, our glass nugget beads, my finite rounds, the 10mm carnelian, a couple of our lava stone nugget beads, my Amazonite teardrop pendant, a couple of the glass window beads in coral orange, and actually I'm not using those. So that's all I'm using from the box. And then additionally from the Bead Box Bargain store today, I have some antique bronze clamshell bead tips. They are fine 2501. I have some really nice crimp beads. They are fine 2529. And a jump ring mix that is ring 136. I've also got some gold finished tiger tail, but you can absolutely use silver as well, and it is unspooling itself as tiger tail loves to do. So I'll just show you here. This is 0.45mm 7-strand tiger tail, and we are, I believe, currently out of stock. We're working on getting that back in, but again, you can use any tiger tail beading wire that you would like. I am going to start off by cutting about 20 inches of that wire. So we'll give that a quick cut, and then we'll get to it. Alright, so to start off, I am going to be attaching my toggle clasp to the cord here. So I'm just going to use a little clamshell bead tip and a crimp bead, and I'm just going to string the crimp on after I put the clamshell on. So I like the kind that has 2 loops on it, the little clamshells, because they will hold together inside the jump ring. And then I'm going to string on my crimp bead here. And because this is a pretty heavy necklace, I'm going to go ahead and string the wire around and back through the crimp bead just to give it a little more to grip onto. It may not look super pretty, but it will help it. It will be hidden in the clamshell, and it will help the necklace not break. I just have to stick this back in here. Which is hard when I'm holding it down away from my face. There we go. So just loop it around and back through. I'm going to pull that as tight as I can. And I really like these surgical steel crimp beads. They're very solid and they have a good grip. So now I'm going to give that a quick crimp using the inner notch on my crimp pliers. Yeah, that seems like it's holding pretty well. And I'm going to use the outer notch on the crimp pliers to form that over into a little folded shape and just make it a little smaller there. And that feels really secure. So now I'm going to trim my wire off, and then I'm just going to close my little bead tip over the crimped bead here. Alright, and trim a little closer than that. Looks great. So now I'm just going to use my fingers to gently close the bead tip, and I'm going to give it a very gentle squeeze just to keep it shut. And you can use nylon tipped pliers if you would like for that part. I am going to string on, I think I'm going to do 3. We'll do the, we're going to do the bar of the toggle first, and I always like to do a couple small beads to give it room to fold over on itself to go through the toggle clasp. So for that, I'm going to use these antique bronze lava stone beads. I'm just going to string on 3 of them. Nothing too fancy, but it's very practical in this design. Alright, and now I'm going to start stringing my pattern. I wanted to do something with these really cool glass nugget beads. So I'm going to do a 6x4mm teal crystal, and then a glass nugget, and then another crystal. And then I'm going to do an 8mm Finite bead and a 10mm carnelian bead and another Finite. Then I'm just going to repeat this pattern, I think about 3 more times. One thing to note, the Amazonite pendant that I got in my box is very brown and less blue. This design absolutely will work with, here's one that's a little more blue just to show you, with a bluer one as well. But if yours is like super minty blue and you want to make sure that it matches, you can alternate or just substitute the Malaysia Jade for the Finite, and it'll pull in more of the blue color if that's prevalent in your Amazonite teardrop. But again, the set that I grabbed had more of a brown one, so that's what I'm designing my piece with. So I'm not going to use these today, but I would just use them in place of the Finite, either alternating, like do the first set blue, the next set Finite, or just replace it all the way. Either way, but that's just an idea if you got more of a blue Amazonite teardrop, because with the flower Amazonite there is a lot of variation, and I wanted to bear that in mind when designing this piece. Alright, so I'm just going to repeat this very simple pattern. To go crystal, glass, crystal, and I am going to try to be consistent with the direction that I'm threading the glass beads. I'm threading them both up from the bottom, at least for now. We are going to switch partway through because we're going to do the clasp in the front. So we're going to come around and then back, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Alright, and now another Finite, carnelian, and Finite. I played around with the octopus pendant so many different ways. I tried so many different things. I tried doing like a multi-strand necklace using it tilted on its side, and that was really cool, but I don't know, I couldn't quite get it to exactly where I was happy with it. And I discovered while I absolutely have to say there are some incredible ideas if you want to do something really dramatic with your octopus. There are some incredible ideas in the Bargain Bead Box Creative Corner Facebook groups. People have made some absolutely incredible things with a ton of dangles and just really dramatic. I tried to come up with a dramatic pattern of my own, and I just was never absolutely thrilled with what I came up with. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to do something a little more simple. But I love the dramatic looks that others have come up with too. So if that's what you're looking for with your octopus piece, I encourage you to go on the Facebook group and take a look at the amazing designs that others have submitted, because I'm going to go more simple with it today. But it looks absolutely fabulous in the pieces that our members have posted online. Alright, and here's where you really get to decide how long you want your necklace. I want mine to be roughly 18 inches probably before dangles, just because I don't tend to wear super duper long jewelry. But you can totally, let's see, I've got enough glass beads. I could do another repetition of this pattern if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to leave it here and go into the back of the neck. And for that, I'm just going to add a little bit of length with by alternating teal crystals and the little orange glass window beads here. So I think I'm going to do 4 of the crystals and 3 of the window beads. I think that'll get me about the length that I'm looking for, but we'll try it and see. And again, with the clasp in the front, this is going to sit at the back of the neck. So, all right. Yeah, pretty happy with that. And let's see, 1, 2, 3. That's going to be roughly 9-ish inches. I think that's going to be long enough for me. I don't want to make mine super long, but if you do, you can totally add more here at the back of the neck, or again, just add another repetition of the pattern. All right, so now we're going back down the other side. I'm going to start with the Finite, carnelian Finite, and here's where we're going to switch up the direction that we are stringing the glass nuggets. And we're going to start from the top instead of the bottom so that they mirror the ones on the other side as they're coming down. When you put the clasp in the front, it changes up the physics just a teensy tiny bit. Okay. But this necklace does come together very quickly. It's very simple, which I like. And I haven't made a necklace with the clasp in the front in a very long time, so that was kind of fun to do. Alrighty, here we go. Another glass nugget with the crystals around it. Alright, looking good. Just got 2 more repetitions, and then we'll attach a few things with some jump rings, and we'll be pretty much good to go. I love using the larger beads like this. It comes together so quickly. That makes my heart happy. I am not gifted with a ton of patience. So I like designs I can sit down and do quickly in between everything else I've got going on in my day. It helps me make time for beading, even on days when I have lots going on. So again, stringing those crystals or the glass nuggets from the top instead of the bottom now. Alright, so now to kind of match up, this is the side I'm going to put the loop on of the clasp. I think I'm going to do one more myfinite right here to kind of give it little something similar, little something extra like those 3. I could do 3 more of the lava stone nuggets there, but I think I want it to be a myfinite, and we'll have it just slightly asymmetrical at the clasp. I like that. But if that bothers you, feel free to do what you want. Here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do one more. We're going to do this. Do one more lava stone bead because I think that'll even the length out nicely. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to finish off my necklace, and I like to coil it when I do because that helps me make sure the beads have a little bit of room to move. I'm going to straighten out or flatten out my bead tip here so that I can get my crimp bead nice and flush. And then I'm going to string on my crimp bead. And again, since this necklace is pretty heavy, you've got some big beads on there, I am going to run it back around and through that crimp bead again, just to give it more to hold as I lasso all my beads there. Look at that. Okay. Okay. Let's see, is that tight enough? I think I want it a little bit tighter. So I'm gonna try to move that crimp bead a little bit closer by pushing the cord in again. I might have to grab it with my plier here. Loosen it a little bit. And then I'm going to pull it from the other end. Yeah, that's one thing about looping the wire back through. It can be a little more difficult to get the crimp bead to go exactly where you want it to go, as far down as I want it to go here, but it does help with these heavier designs. And if it causes you too much trouble, you can always stick a little spacer in there, which maybe I'll do that here just to show you what I mean. Yeah, just stick a little crimp bead cover on the wire after the fact. Well, I'm going to crimp it before I trim the wire just to make sure it doesn't go all over the place. And another thing to consider is that the crimp cover also takes up a little tiny bit of wire. So you want to make sure you still have room to close that. I'm going to give that a really nice squish with these pliers because we're not going to see it anyway. It doesn't have to be beautiful, it just has to stay. And that one corner isn't as crimped as I'd like it to be. So try it again. Squish, squish, and fold. There we go. Feels secure. Yeah, I don't think that's going anywhere. All right. I will trim that down. And then fold it up. So now we're going to line up the loops on this as closely as possible. That looks pretty good on this bead tip here. And there we are. Okay. Yeah, that actually is a pretty good amount of movement on the strand. I am not unhappy with that. Okay. Now all we have to do is attach our clasp. Again, the one with the 3 smaller beads is going to be the side that I put the bar on, and then the ring will go on the one with the 8mm bead. And then we will attach our octopus. I'll go ahead and get him out here. All right, so I'm going to use like maybe a 4mm loop to attach the clasps here. Let's see if I can find 2 the same size. I'm getting towards the bottom of this jump ring bag. I do love the mixed bags though, because you get so many different kinds, shapes and sizes, well, not shapes, but sizes of jump rings all at once. All right, and that way I don't have to tote around as many bags of different sizes of things. I'm going to open this using my little jump ring here. And then I'm going to put it through the holes, or both loops of our clamshell bead tip and the loop on the clasp. And then we're just going to close it right back up. And when you are doing jump rings, you always want to swing like open and shut. You don't want to uncurl it. If you uncurl it, it will never go back. I ruined so many jump rings in my early days of beading before I perfected the open and shut motion. But I say perfected, I still mess it up sometimes, but I got better at least. Okay, let's see here. Looks good. All right, so now we've got our clasp attached, and you can see that these small beads do help the toggle bar go through there. Looks good. Let's put on the octopus. So I'm going to attach him to the loop, the ring of the clasp, using a big old jump ring here. So I want it to be big enough he doesn't get stuck. Here we go. And I also want to make sure, no, that's not facing the right direction, since the ring is one-sided and the octopus is one-sided, that when you hold it like this, they're both facing the same direction. All right. Well, it's about to close it up. Then I dropped it. Here we go. This ring is so big, I can usually just do it with my fingers. There we are. Usually just hold it to close it. Okay, so now we've got our octopus attached to our necklace. I am now going to attach my teardrop pendant. And I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to see how small I can get away with here. See if this 8mm ring will work as a bail. If not, then I'll use the larger 10mm one. Let's see. Oh yeah, that'll work easily. So I'm just going to put this ring around and through. Tell you what, I should not be doing that. I should be putting the pressure on the ring and not on the stone, because I don't want to break the hole or break it at the hole. So I'll use my ring. There we go. And now we just need 2 more loops so that it will hang properly. So I'm going to put another 8mm loop on my octopus here. Maybe, there we go. And then after that, I just need one more ring to connect those two. Trying to decide if I want to use, maybe I should just use another 8mm ring. For consistency's sake. I think that will work well. So again, I'm going to try to be conscious of which direction each thing will face, because I want the flat part of my pendant at the back. There we go. Okay. So, yep, I did in fact do that backwards. Look at that. Good job, Lauren. As I was closing, I had this moment of doubt. I was like, oh no, it'll be fine. It was not. There we go. Just, we can fix that in post, right, Hannah? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Nobody is perfect. There we go. All right. So there we have it. We've got the clasp in the front, and then we have our octopus pendant, and then the very simple Amazonite dangle at the bottom. I wanted to add a little something to the octopus. I tried putting different stuff all over, and I just couldn't get it balanced the way that I wanted it to. So I gave up and took everything but the Amazonite pendant off, and I was like, you know what? I kind of like it that way. And I do think this design would look nice with the bluer one too. But again, if you have a really, really blue one and you want to mix in some of these Malaysia jade beads, I think that'll help balance it for you too. The one that I ended up with, randomly grabbing one, was pretty brown. So this is what I did with my octopus pendant. I hope you enjoyed that. I would love to see what you made as well. Again, you can join the Bargain Beadbox Creative Corner Facebook group. Just make sure to answer all the membership questions so our robot gatekeeper doesn't disapprove you. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I can't wait to start playing with July's beads soon. I really enjoyed the June month. It has been a little bit more of a challenge for me. You've got some very eclectic colors and metal tones I don't frequently use, but I've actually really liked it. I hope you've had fun with June too, and I look forward to beading with you in July. Thanks again, and happy beading. Alright, so I didn't actually end up having to add a crimp cover to my necklace because the drape is actually in the movement is actually pretty good. But if you ever do end up with extra tiger tail, here I've just made like a example. If you don't get your crimp bead tight enough and you have more wire showing than you would like, I mentioned you can use a crimp cover, and I just kind of wanted to show you what I mean. So I've got these little C-shaped crimp covers. These are fine 2476. And you can just wrap it around your wire and then close it. They're made to go over crimp beads and hide crimp beads, but they work great for eating up just that little bit extra. So you kind of just like form them into a little rondelle, tuck that one end in the other as neatly as you can. And you've got just like a little rondelle bead that sits on your strand and takes up some of that extra space for you. So I hope that made sense. I just mentioned it in the video and I didn't end up showing it because it wasn't needed in this necklace, but I wanted to give you an example of what I was talking about there. I hope that's helpful. Thanks again for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.